Is 20 minutes till dawn worth it? In this video, I'm gonna give you a full review of the game, so by then you'll be able to make an informed decision on whether or not this game is for you, and if it's worth the cost. I normally don't like these games at all, but something about this game made me buy it, and I'm so glad I did. I'm gonna tell you why in this video. So 20 minutes till dawn is an action roguelike game. It is an RPG bullet hell, and the game title says it all: survive for 20 minutes. And you of course do this by shooting all the monsters that come at you throughout the 20 minutes. Now throughout the game you will start unlocking stuff. So when you kill an enemy you will find XP, and once you pick that XP up you then gain levels you can use to upgrade your character. And so for instance, you could increase the damage of your bullets, you could increase your movement speed, your reload speed. You can also make summoner builds. So for instance, you would summon a ghost that would fly around and attack for you, or you could even make a lightning build which shoots lightning every time you shoot. And lightning build might be my favorite so far. So as you progress throughout the 20 minutes, you can also do it in 10 minutes if you want to do quick play, but basically as you progress you will unlock more stuff, and the enemies will also become stronger and they will be different types. So later on you will find monsters that explode themselves, you will find bosses, and the rate of spawn also increases. So it doesn't take long at all until you start feeling super overwhelmed by the amount of monsters that are on your screen. And this rate of monster spawning is of course even faster when you're playing the 10-minute version, so it gets absolutely insane at some points. Now the first few times you will play this you won't get very far because you're not very strong at all. You don't really have a lot of characters unlocked. The first character isn't that strong at all. You don't really know what you're doing. So let's say you get to level 10 or 15 the first time. After that you will then have Rune systems. So you have system outside of the gameplay where you can unlock more stuff. And these upgrades are permanent and tied to your account and not just a character playing at that time. When you're playing the game and you are killing monsters, those upgrades only tie to that specific game session, but outside of this you have Rune system and you can unlock weapons and characters. So for instance, if we look at the Rune system here, there are different runes that unlock different things. So for instance, some of these are really good if you want to go defensive or if you want to go offensive. You have glass cannon builds where it's all about just doing damage with your pistols, or you can even make summoner build. So whether ghost gets buffed or even the lightning strikes gets buffed, there are specific characters and weapons that really help into that. And in terms of this rune system, you actually have quite a few hours of gameplay in this. If you want to unlock everything, it will take quite a few hours to unlock it all. You also have different characters with different attributes. So for instance, the diamond character here has more health than the others, but some of the others are really good. You can make that a grenade thrower, you can make one with the SMGs. Now most other customization is tied to this, choosing the character, the weapon, and then the in-game options when you unlock stuff throughout the levels. So you're gonna make quite a few different builds actually, and they can be very different. You also have different weapons here. So first off, you start with the revolver, and the revolver hits hard, but it doesn't shoot very fast at all. So later on, you can start unlocking SMGs, crossbows, etc. And then you can of course choose the combination you want to. So one of the common builds that I really like here is when you combine the SMG that shoots really fast with a character called Spark, but basically that deals lightning damage the more time you shoot. So those two ties really nicely together, and then when you're playing the game you can also buff lightning damage. So you can choose specific upgrades that buffs more lightning damage, and also it applies more often. So as it gets crazy later on, the amount of lightning that just flies down from the screen. You can also make freezing builds or flame builds, where you freeze enemies or you set them on fire. So there's a good variety of different builds. Now what I like about this game is that it's super player friendly. I normally don't play these games at all. They're not my style one bit, but this game really spoke to me. You don't need to do a lot of research or reading. You can just hop in and just start going crazy. The unlocks pop up in front of your screen and it tells you very directly what it does. Now it is a simple game, but it does it really well. So in terms of the graphics, it looks nice, although I would like a bit more color. There are a lot of skills that are just white and fill up the entire screen and prevent you from seeing, especially later on, and especially with some of the different builds, like the frost build can be very difficult to see what's actually happening. But overall graphics and the feel of it is really nice, and it is actually quite immersive. And also one of the things I like, that the enemies have very different visuals. You know exactly what enemies you are finding because they look very different. In some games you'll see an enemy that has like one very little minor detail different, but that's not the case here. You can easily see what kind of enemy it is, so you know what to look out for. Now the audio is actually quite nice. There are some things I would like to see changed. For instance, there is no volume sliders. You can just choose between 25%, 50%. So some volume sliders would be nice. But the overall music is quite good, and also the sound effects from shooting is very satisfying. So what are the pros and the cons? So definitely the pros, it is highly addictive. It feels really nice to play. You have full customization over what you want to do, what character you want to make, and what build you're up for doing. There's also a nice progression skill that allows for interesting builds that ties into that. And for being an early access game and costing $3, the value is really good. And also the in-game options that allow you to upgrade different stuff are random, so each run feels different. You can't just run the same build with the same upgrades every single time. They will feel unique because you can sometimes vary what upgrades you get in what order. Now, what are the cons? It is of course an early access game. There's only one map and a few mob types that are available. I'd like to see more options added later on that allows for different scenarios and different monsters, different mob types in different maps. Also, contrast would be nice. I'm a bit crazy only seeing dog or white. The overall tooltips are the progression trees, so the rune system could use a bit of work. It can be a bit difficult to figure out what progression to take next. But overall, this is a solid game, and especially for the price, it is really good. Now, most likely won't be a game you'll play for 100 hours, but it is nice once in a while. Just jump in and play for 20 minutes to 2 hours. Just having a good time and just blasting. Now, from what I see, some people see the game's simplicity as a con, but I see it as a pro. When you see this game, you are not in doubt what the game is about. You know exactly what's gonna happen and what to expect. So I personally recommend this game a lot. I normally don't play these games at all, but this really spoke to me. So if you normally play this kind of game, or even if you don't, I think you'll really enjoy it. And it is definitely worth the cost. If you like this video, make sure to boop that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. Check out the video on the screen now if you want to see more of my game reviews, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, everyone.